Welcome to the platform. I'm Togsy, our last show of season 2, and thank you so much for tuning in over the last couple of months. Really appreciate it. We're going out with 2 awesome stories tonight. First up, Miss Grand Australia, Kimberly Gundani. Thank you so much for being on the show. It was nice to see. I actually saw a link on Facebook. Someone talked about the Miss Grand World contest, and I think they're from the Philippines, and it made me curious to go, oh, okay, what is that? And I looked on there, and then I see you representing Australia, which is pretty cool. How did that come to be?
So basically, I'd always wanted to participate in a pageant, but I think it was just more the fact that I didn't feel like I could do it. I'd never seen anyone else just like me kind of representing Australia. At 24, I decided to really start training to participate in pageants. And I heard about Miss Grand Australia and their advocacy with the UN Women to stop domestic violence. And with my work in children and families, I kind of engaged with that sort of platform, and I felt I could do more. And that was one of the ways I could do it. So I applied and I became Miss Grand Australia.
The thing that made me really curious was I can't recall seeing a beauty pageant with someone representing Australia, Miss Universe or Miss World, where they're dark skinned. It was kind of like, whoa, are you the first?
I think so. Honestly, I really do think so. I've done a bit of research. But yeah, I think I am definitely the first African Australian descendant to represent Australia on a world stage. So that was an incredible honour.
So with your story before it then, you mentioned that you're at 24, you started thinking about pageants and wouldn't mind having a go at it. What was your story before that? Like, where were you born?
Okay, so I was born in Zimbabwe, and we moved over to England when I was very young, and then we moved over to Australia with my mom, and my mom's raised me on her own, ever since I was little, really.
Wow.
So she's been sort of like inspirational and always taught me to dream big, and has been fearless and sacrificed a lot for me to have what I have. So at the moment I'm studying my Juris Doctor, but I have a history in the pharmaceutical industry, and miraculously branched into law, which is interesting. I have a history working with child protection ever since I was 19.
Wow.
And so it's been an interesting life.
So how hard do you have to work at that? Like, what's the kind of study as to end up being a lawyer?
Look, there are different paths to actually becoming a lawyer. Mine was a little different. Like I mentioned, I have my background is in the pharmaceutical industry. I applied to do my master's after getting my grades for my undergraduate, and they accepted me. I thought it was a bit of a risk on their part, not getting someone who's in the humanities side of things to do the law degree, but I think they trusted me enough, and I showed enough willingness to learn. So that was probably a pro.
Nice. So with the contest that you went in, right, it must be pretty full on because there's a lot goes into representing, I guess. Do you represent your state first, or is it just a big national final?
Yeah, no, there's actually quite a bit. So I applied just the online application, and then we did state finals, and from the state finals you did the national finals, which were held in Sydney this year. And that's when I got my title, which is good.
And then you go to, so where was it, in Myanmar?
Yeah, it was in Myanmar. This year it was in Myanmar, and it was 3 weeks, from the 4th of October up until the 25th, 26th.
Yeah.
And then you head home after that. So it's 3 weeks. It's 3 weeks of being in a pageant situation.
So that must be cool when you go over there representing Australia and you'd meet so many amazing girls from all over the world.
Oh, it's super cool. It's amazing. Like, Miss Grand International, Miss Grand Australia is a sisterhood. So you come to meet these people who are passionate about their advocacy, because the Miss Grand International platform is Stop the War and Violence. So each country picks up what that means for them. So if it means traveling to war zones, then they do that. Or if it means, approaching domestic violence like we do here in Australia, then the title holders will usually participate in that field. So it was really great to learn about other people's cultures, but also what they're doing to change their local community and what they hope to do if they become Miss Grand International.
Very cool. So you mentioned before that there'll be a lot of kids and young girls out there that'll be inspired by seeing your journey and what you're achieving. Who inspires you?
Who inspires me? Primarily, it has to be my mom. She is super fearless, and I think just moving from the country you were born in to move to England and then Australia, it takes someone who's got a lot of guts. And all that is really to give me a better future and better prospects. So I really don't have any excuses as to why I can't achieve when I've got like an incredible role model who, continuously improves herself in terms of education. She's doing a PhD at the moment, which is amazing. But she also gives to her community. So she's a great example for me. And yeah, if I can be like a quarter of who she is, like, I feel like I would have done well.
I'm sure she's pretty proud of you. I love asking people about chasing dreams and stuff. So what's like your ultimate dream if you can live it?
I have really big dreams. I have more than one, so for this lifetime. But my ultimate dream in terms of education would be to finish my law masters, and work as a barrister representing children and families, because I genuinely believe that's so important to give a voice to people who might not be able to voice their opinions and their needs. And I have a pretty loud voice, I have to say, and I'm not afraid to use it. So that's one thing. I think more in terms of platform would be to work with within the domestic violence sector. Coming back, it was shocking to read about the number of women who have died because of domestic violence. So clearly, there's a lot that we haven't done that's left to do in terms of addressing that. So I would really like to maybe go into schools and raise awareness in that way, raising money perhaps. But my work isn't done. Yeah, so that's probably what I'm hoping to do in the future. But I have a few plans, just a few.
Awesome. Well, Kimberly, you're an inspirational young lady. So congratulations and great to have you on the show.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
So there she is, Kimberly. Great to have her on the show. When we come back, an amazing story that really proves that anything is possible. We're going to Skype LA and catch up with American actor Matthew Knowles. That's coming up on the platform.